I want to bring in now the attorney for that DHS whistleblower, Mark Zaid. He's joining me now. Mark, thank you for being on the show here.
That's my pleasure. Thank you.
So have you or your client gotten any direct response yet from DHS or from the White House? Have you had any communication with those officials?
No, not at all. And I wouldn't expect it. I will say I did write to DHS late last night, indicating or asking whether or not they are going to oppose or in any way try to prevent Mr. Murphy from testifying before the HPSCI on the 21st in a deposition. And also, because it is going to be a classified deposition, we need the lawyers, myself and my colleagues, to be properly cleared so that we could participate and help prep the client for the information that's going to be provided.
You wrote that late last night. You said that letter, I assume, have not heard back yet this morning. What kind of a response are you anticipating?
Well, I certainly expect that they approve the deposition testimony. That would look really bad. As far as our clearances, we go through this all the time. Most of my law practice deals with classified information and representing folks who are covert intelligence officers. So this is a game that we play with every administration about getting counsel access. But I have been previously cleared up to the TS-SCI level, which is a lot of acronyms for the highest classified levels in our country, right, which is what a lot of this information is at. And I expect at some point in time that we will be cleared because, frankly, if the oversight committees and the IG wants to gather the information, they're going to have to allow at least one of us as his lawyer to be present.
I want to ask you about National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, because he is mentioned in the complaint, and he is now responding to a piece of the complaint referencing him. The complaint says in May, Chad Wolf told Brian Murphy to, quote, cease providing intelligence assessments on the threat of Russian interference in the United States and instead start reporting on interference activities by China and Iran. It said that Wolf told Murphy that direction came from O'Brien. Here's O'Brien's reaction.
I've never even heard of this guy. I don't know who he is, and it's hearsay. He says he heard it from somebody else. I don't think there's anyone who's been tougher on Russia in this administration than I have been, or the president, for that matter, has been. But I'll tell you one thing: that China is a serious threat to our elections. Iran is a serious threat to the free and fair elections here.
Mark, what's your response to that?
Right. So a few things. One, I didn't hear a denial that he told Chad Wolf that. So that's one thing. He said he didn't know the client. That's fine. We never said he did. He makes a comment that it's hearsay. Well, let's understand. Under the law for whistleblowers, all you need to do is have a good faith basis. And hearsay is perfectly acceptable. And we made it very clear in the complaint that this was Chad Wolf telling directly to Brian Murphy what Mr. O'Brien said. Whether Mr. O'Brien said it, I have no idea. I don't think Brian Murphy knows, because Chad Wolf was the one who told it to him. So this would be something that the congressional oversight committees and the inspector general's office will obviously interview folks.
Okay.
And if Mr. O'Brien wants to deny it, that's fine. We'll see what Mr. Wolf says. Or others who were
Murphy's
in the room.
complaint says he was demoted. Yeah, I want to ask you about this demotion of Murphy. It happened last month. The complaint also describes several years of efforts by Murphy to raise concerns to top DHS officials on some of this. What do you say to people who think the timing may look more like it has to do with Murphy's demotion rather than an urgent sense of these warnings about manipulated intel?
Sure. So two things. One, as you mentioned, Brian Murphy's actually been filing complaints and making protected disclosures for 2 years, well before, obviously, this demotion in July. And secondly, the motive of a whistleblower, while sometimes relevant and could be relevant here because there's going to be credibility issues at concern, there are conversations that Brian Murphy details where he had with senior officials. So I have no problem with his credibility being on the line. And if his motive wants to be questioned, that's fine. But if there are other witnesses to that and they support him, then the motivation of the whistleblower, the value or relevance diminishes, because at issue is the substance of the allegation.
Okay, Mark, I'm out of time, but very quickly here. Does Murphy have evidence he's willing to give Congress to back up this complaint? Yes, no?
Well, absolutely. Classified evidence. A lot of it.
Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. why don't you subscribe? It's really easy. Just click on that button down there. And for more news from MSNBC, click on any of these videos here for the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more videos from MSNBC with our newsletters. Head over to msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up.